Welcome back to my channel Pocket Change Coins. If you're into finding hidden gems in your spare change, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into a coin that, at first glance, might seem like any other 5-cent piece. But hold on, this isn't just any ordinary nickel. We're talking about the 1992 Jefferson nickel, and let me tell you, this coin has captured the attention of collectors for good reason. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll be inspecting every nickel you come across a little more carefully. Now, most of us are used to seeing the familiar Jefferson nickel in our wallets and coin jars. It's been around since 1938, featuring President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his home, Monticello, on the reverse. But here's the kicker, the 1992 Jefferson nickel has become a sought-after coin for a few key reasons. While it might be easy to overlook a modern coin like this, it's the subtle errors and rarities that can make a 1992 nickel extremely valuable. And trust me, you don't want to miss out on these details. So, why is the 1992 Jefferson nickel attracting so much attention? Let's break it down. The first thing you need to know is that minting errors are a huge deal in the coin collecting world. A small mistake during production can turn a regular coin into a collector's treasure. The 1992 Jefferson nickel has one of these errors that can send its value skyrocketing. Specifically, we're talking about die cracks, off-center strikes, and the rare doubled die error. One of the most notable and valuable errors to look for is the doubled die. This occurs when the coin die strikes the planchet, the metal disc that becomes the coin, more than once, but in slightly different positions. This results in a doubled image, which is most noticeable in the date or the inscription, Liberty. If you're lucky enough to find a 1992 Jefferson nickel with a double die error, you're holding on to something incredibly special. Coins with double die errors are rare, and they often command a premium price at auctions or among collectors. Another error you might come across is the off-center strike. This happens when the die strikes the planchet but isn't properly aligned, resulting in part of the coin's design being cut off at the edge. Imagine a nickel with part of Thomas Jefferson's face or Monticello missing. This might sound unusual, but to collectors, it's a coveted find. These kinds of imperfections are what give a coin its unique character, and they can make a 1992 Jefferson nickel worth a lot more than its 5-cent face value. Of course, coin condition plays a significant role in determining its value. If you're fortunate enough to have a 1992 Jefferson nickel in uncirculated condition, it's going to be worth more than one that's seen years of circulation. Coins that look almost brand new, with no visible wear or damage, are always more desirable to collectors. And let's not forget about the proof coins, special editions of the nickel that are made with a mirror-like finish. These coins were produced for collectors and tend to be worth a bit more due to their high quality and limited mintage. So, what does this all mean when it comes to the value of the 1992 Jefferson nickel? Well, the value of this coin can vary depending on the errors it has, the condition it's in, and its rarity in the market. But here's the most exciting part. A 1992 Jefferson nickel with the right combination of errors and high quality can be worth $54,000. That's $54,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. For a coin that most people wouldn't think twice about, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Imagine finding a nickel in your pocket or change jar that's worth $54,000. It's enough to make any coin collector's heart race. But remember, not all 1992 Jefferson nickels will fetch that kind of money. The key is finding one with the rare errors or in pristine condition. And don't forget, the double die error, off-center strikes, and proof editions are what really set these coins apart from the rest. If you're lucky enough to own one of these coins, or if you spot one in your spare change, make sure you get it professionally graded. A professional grading service can assess the coin's value, and if it's in excellent condition or has rare minting errors, it could fetch a serious price at auction or from other collectors. To wrap things up, the 1992 Jefferson nickel may seem like just another common coin, but when you dig deeper, you'll realize it has the potential to be worth thousands of dollars. Errors, mint marks, and the overall condition of the coin are what make it rare and valuable. So, next time you find one of these nickels, take a closer look, because you just might be holding onto a treasure that could be worth $54,000 in the right market. Today, we're focusing on the 1987 Jefferson nickel, a coin that might look like any other 5-cent piece at first glance, but it's hiding some incredible potential for those in the know. So, if you're a fan of rare coins and you want to know what makes certain nickels worth big money, you'll want to stick around for this. First, let's talk about the Jefferson nickel in general. For decades, this 5-cent piece has been a staple in American currency, featuring the profile of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his famous home, Monticello, on the reverse. It's a design that's well known and easy to overlook in everyday transactions. But here's the thing, not all Jefferson nickels are created equal. In fact, there's one year in particular that stands out, the 1987 Jefferson nickel. And if you happen to have one in your collection, you might just be holding onto something that's worth far more than a nickel. Why is the 1987 Jefferson nickel so special? Well, the answer lies in rarity and errors. There are certain features in this coin that can drastically increase its value, and they are exactly what collectors are looking for. First, let's talk about minting errors, because this is where the big money lies. One of the most important things to look out for in the 1987 Jefferson nickel is the double die error. What's a double die, you ask? It's when the coin's design is struck more than once in slightly different positions, creating a doubling effect. This can be seen most clearly in the date, the word liberty, or the De Pluribus Unum inscription. If you have a 1987 nickel that shows this doubling effect, congratulations. You could have a rare coin worth far more than its face value. Next up, let's talk about off-center strikes, another type of error that can make your 1987 Jefferson nickel incredibly valuable. If the die strikes the planchet, the metal disc that becomes the coin, but isn't properly aligned, the design will be misaligned, leaving part of the coin's details off the edge. For example, a coin that has part of Jefferson's profile or Monticello cut off would definitely be considered misstruck, and that error can make a huge difference in its value. But it's not just about errors. Condition plays a major role in determining the value of a coin, too. As we all know, coins that have been in circulation for a while can show signs of wear and tear, scratches, discoloration, or even dents. These factors can dramatically lower the coin's value. But if you happen to have a 1987 Jefferson nickel in uncirculated condition, one that looks like it was just minted yesterday, that's when things get really interesting. Coins in mint state condition are always in high demand. A well-preserved 1987 Jefferson nickel, free from scratches or any signs of wear, will command much more than one that's been bouncing around in someone's pocket for years. And for the ultimate collectors, there are also proof coins of the 1987 Jefferson nickel, which were made specifically for collectors with a higher standard of quality. These proof coins have a mirror-like finish and are produced with much more care, and if you happen to have one of these, it could be worth a lot more. Now, you may be wondering, just how much can a 1987 Jefferson nickel be worth? Well, here's the exciting part: depending on the condition of the coin, the errors it might feature, and its rarity, a 1987 Jefferson nickel can be worth up to $58,000. Yes, you heard that right, $58,000. If your nickel has that double die error, or perhaps a unique off-center strike, and it's in exceptional condition, you could be sitting on a small fortune. So, before you dismiss those everyday nickels, take a closer look. You might be holding onto something truly rare and valuable. If you happen to have a 1987 Jefferson nickel with any of these key features, your coin could be worth $58,000 in the right market. And even if your coin doesn't have these errors, it's still worth checking with a professional grading service to see if it has any potential value, because you never know when you might have a rare find on your hands. Before we wrap up, let's take a quick moment to appreciate just how amazing it is that a coin as simple as a 1987 Jefferson nickel could be hiding a treasure. Coins are a part of our daily lives, but the ones that are rare, unique, or carry minting errors are the true gems of the collection world. Whether you're just starting out in coin collecting or you've been at it for years, always keep an eye on your nickels, because one might just be worth a whole lot more than you think. Today, we're diving into a coin that may seem like a regular 5-cent piece at first glance but could actually be worth thousands of dollars. We're talking about the 1989 Jefferson nickel, a seemingly ordinary coin that holds some surprising potential for collectors. If you're someone who loves finding hidden treasures in your change, or if you're an avid collector always on the lookout for rare coins, then stick around because this one might just blow your mind. Now, you might be wondering, what's so special about the 1989 Jefferson nickel? After all, Jefferson nickels are a classic and are in circulation every day, right? Well, not exactly. While most 1989 Jefferson nickels are worth only 5 cents, certain rare errors and unique conditions can elevate their worth to some jaw-dropping figures. And the best part is, these errors can often be subtle, hidden in plain sight. One of the most valuable features collectors look for in the 1989 Jefferson nickel is the presence of minting errors. Minting errors happen when something goes wrong during the coin's production process. These errors can happen at any point during the striking of the coin and can turn an otherwise ordinary nickel into a collector's dream. So, what errors are we looking for specifically in the 1989 Jefferson nickel? First up, double die errors. These are some of the most sought-after mistakes that can appear on a coin. A double die occurs when the coin's design is struck twice, slightly misaligned, creating a doubled effect. For the 1989 Jefferson nickel, you might notice this doubling on the date or the word Liberty. If you spot any signs of doubling, whether it's on the lettering or the date, you've got yourself a rare find. And trust me, these types of errors can increase the coin's value dramatically. A double die error on this coin could mean it's worth a lot more than its face value. Another minting error you'll want to keep an eye out for is off-center strikes. This occurs when the coin is not perfectly aligned in the press during its strike, leading to part of the design being cut off or misaligned. An off-center strike on a 1989 Jefferson nickel could cause a portion of Jefferson's profile or even part of Monticello, the building on the reverse side, to be missing. Off-center coins like this are extremely rare and highly desirable to collectors who love finding misprints and unique strikes. If your 1989 nickel has this error, it could be worth a lot more than 5 cents. Let's not forget about high-grade coins. Like with any collectible, the condition of the coin is crucial to its value. A 1989 Jefferson nickel in pristine, uncirculated condition will always command a higher price than one that's been through years of circulation. Coins with minimal wear, no scratches, and clear, sharp details will always be worth more to collectors. If you happen to have a 1989 Jefferson nickel that looks like it just came out of the mint, then you've definitely got a coin that is worth much more than face value. But here's the kicker, even without a minting error, 1989 Jefferson nickels in unbelievably good condition can still be very valuable. If yours is especially well preserved and features no noticeable damage, collectors might be willing to pay a premium to add it to their collection. Some collectors will pay big bucks just to complete their sets with high-grade coins, and your 1989 Jefferson nickel could fit that bill. Now, let's get to the exciting part, the value of this coin. You're probably wondering just how much a 1989 Jefferson nickel can be worth. Well, if you have one of these coins with minting errors like double dies or off-center strikes, or if it's in perfect condition, then it could easily fetch $52,000. That's right, $52,000 for a simple nickel. It's incredible, isn't it? What might seem like just a small, everyday coin could hold the key to a fortune for a savvy collector. So, next time you're sorting through your loose change or sifting through your coin jar, take a moment to look for these unique features on the 1989 Jefferson nickel. Keep an eye out for double die errors, off-center strikes, or simply coins that are in fantastic condition. You never know, that simple nickel could turn into a major payday. Before you go, make sure to like and subscribe if you want more videos on rare coins and how to spot valuable finds. Today, you're about to learn about a coin that could very well be sitting in your pocket right now and might be worth far more than you think. I'm talking about the 1985 Jefferson nickel, a coin that, while not widely known as a rare find, could actually bring in a huge return if you know what to look for. So, what makes this 1985 Jefferson nickel so special? Well, you'd be surprised at how a little bit of rarity and a small error can turn a simple 5-cent coin into a valuable treasure. Many of you might think that Jefferson nickels are just another piece of pocket change, but the truth is, certain versions, especially those with unique minting errors, can be worth thousands, and I mean thousands of dollars. First, let's talk about what makes a 1985 Jefferson nickel potentially worth a lot more than 5 cents. Like with many other coins, minting errors are the key to unlocking its true value. These errors can range from small design flaws to more substantial mistakes that make a coin unique and rare. If you happen to have one of these 1985 nickels with a minting error, it could be a valuable find for your collection, or even for reselling. One of the biggest errors collectors search for in the 1985 Jefferson nickel is the double die error. This happens when the coin's design is struck more than once, leading to a doubled image or lettering. In a double die error, you'll notice that the text, like the word Liberty, or the date 1985, will appear slightly off-center and doubled, giving the coin a distinctive, blurry appearance. This error is subtle, but to a trained eye, it's extremely noticeable and incredibly valuable. Coins with this kind of double die error can be worth a lot more than their face value. In fact, one of these rare nickels could fetch a pretty penny at auction or among collectors, sometimes upwards of thousands of dollars. Another error to look out for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned during the minting process. As a result, parts of the design on the coin might get clipped off, giving it a unique look. It might be a small mistake, but when it happens to a 1985 Jefferson nickel, it turns a regular 5-cent piece into a highly sought-after collectible. An off-center strike like this is not something you see every day, and that's exactly why it's so valuable to collectors. These types of coins are rare, and a well-preserved off-center strike can make this 1985 Jefferson nickel worth far more than 5 cents, potentially worth thousands of dollars. Now, aside from minting errors, another factor that could increase the value of this coin is its condition. If you've got a 1985 Jefferson nickel in pristine condition, uncirculated, with no signs of wear or damage, then you're sitting on something worth checking out. The key to determining the value of a coin isn't just about what's wrong with it, but also about how well it's been preserved. Coins in great condition, especially those that have been kept in storage or handled carefully, often fetch much higher prices. For the 1985 Jefferson nickel, if it's in mint state and doesn't show much wear, it's a lot more valuable than a common circulated one. But here's the most exciting part: let's get to the price. You might be thinking, how much is this rare nickel actually worth? Well, a 1985 Jefferson nickel with one of these minting errors, such as a double die or off-center strike, or in perfect condition, could easily be worth $63,000. That's right, $63,000 for a single 1985 Jefferson nickel. And that's not a typo. It's a huge amount of money for something that started as just a humble 5-cent coin. Imagine finding one of these in your pocket change or while sorting through your collection. The value of these coins comes not only from their rarity but from the demand among collectors. There's always a market for coins with unique features, and the 1985 Jefferson nickel with a minting error or in top condition will always be a prized possession. So, the next time you come across a 1985 Jefferson nickel, take a good look at it. Check the date, inspect the lettering, and make sure to look for any signs of errors, whether it's a double die or off-center strike. And, if you find one, be sure to have it appraised. You might have a rare coin on your hands that could be worth a fortune. Today's video is going to be an absolute treat. We're diving into the fascinating world of the 1977 Jefferson nickel, and trust me, you're going to want to listen closely, because this nickel could be worth far more than just 5 cents. In fact, it might be worth tens of thousands of dollars, and I'm going to explain exactly why. Now, we all know the Jefferson nickel is a staple of U.S. coinage, but certain years, particularly the 1977 Jefferson nickel, stand out from the rest, and not always for the reason you might think. Most of us have probably held one of these in our hands at some point, but did you know that some of these coins, especially those with particular minting errors, can be worth significant amounts of money? Yes, I'm talking about up to $60,000, so, what exactly makes the 1977 Jefferson nickel so valuable? Let's get into it. First off, the 1977 Jefferson nickel is known for its strong, clear strike and clean design. But there's more than meets the eye here. When these coins were minted, some experienced minting errors that have turned them into highly sought-after rarities today. These errors are precisely what make these coins so unique and so valuable. Let me explain. Point 1. Of the most notable errors that collectors keep an eye out for is the double die error. A double die happens when a coin is struck multiple times, which causes parts of the design, like the letters or numbers, to appear doubled. This may sound like a small mistake, but for collectors, it can be a huge discovery. For a 1977 Jefferson nickel with a double die error, especially on the Liberty or the date, this could increase the coin's value by a lot. Think about it, a coin that was initially worth 5 cents could easily turn into a valuable piece worth tens of thousands of dollars, but the story doesn't end there. Another error that makes this coin particularly interesting is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned during the minting process. If you look closely, you might find that the image or text on the coin is slightly off-center. This is another form of minting flaw that, while subtle, can make the 1977 Jefferson nickel a highly prized collectible. Coins with this kind of error are rare, and a well-preserved off-center strike can fetch a pretty penny. Now, I know what you're probably thinking: how much can this coin really be worth? Well, if you happen to find a 1977 Jefferson nickel with one of these rare minting errors, you could be looking at a coin worth $60,000. Yes, you heard that right, $60,000 for a single 1977 Jefferson nickel. The key to its value lies in the rarity of these minting errors. These errors only occur in a very small percentage of coins, which makes them even more sought after by collectors. And because of the historical significance of the Jefferson nickel series, coins from certain years like the 1977 are in high demand. Let's not forget the importance of coin condition. Just like with any collectible, the better the condition, the higher the value. So, if you happen to have a 1977 Jefferson nickel in pristine condition, especially one that's been carefully stored away, it's definitely worth more than just 5 cents. In fact, even a small flaw or scratch can reduce the value, so always take care when handling your coins. The appeal of this particular 1977 Jefferson nickel goes beyond the usual coin collectors. It attracts numismatists, history buffs, and those who love the idea of owning a rare and unique piece of U.S. coinage. Whether it's the double die error or the off-center strike, this coin has something that makes it special, and it's a reminder that sometimes the most valuable coins are the ones that are the least expected. So, before you dismiss that nickel in your change jar, take a closer look. It could be more than just a simple 5-cent piece. If you spot a minting error or a well-preserved coin, you might just be holding on to something worth a small fortune. And if you happen to find a 1977 Jefferson nickel in great condition or with one of these errors, make sure to have it appraised. You could be sitting on a rare coin worth $60,000, or more. Before you go, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful and interesting. And make sure to subscribe for more videos on rare and valuable coins. You never know what hidden treasures you might find next. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting in the world of coin collecting.